Okay, so have you ever, like, totally obsessed over online reviews? I'm talking like spending way too long on Yelp trying to pick a restaurant,
Right.
only to be completely freaked out by one bad review about, like, a hair in the soup or
Oh,
something.
totally. We've all been there.
Right. And it turns out all those reviews, they aren't just messing with our dinner plans, they have a huge impact on actual businesses.
You bet they do.
We're doing a deep dive today on this article. It's called The Impact of Negative Reviews on Businesses. And let me tell you, it is eye-opening.
It really is.
We're going to talk about, like, the psychology behind why those bad reviews, you know, those one-star ratings, why they hit so hard, and the real-world stuff, the consequences for businesses, all backed up by some, honestly, kind of scary stats.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Okay, so get this. 87%, that's almost 9 out of 10 people, rely on online reviews before they even think about checking out a local business.
87%. It's like we're basically programmed to do it now, right?
It's true. But here's the thing. It's not just about, following the crowd. There's some deep psychology going on, this thing called social proof.
Right, exactly. Like, we're hardwired to trust other people's experiences, especially when we're not sure about something.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, if you're going to spend a bunch of money on something new, you'd feel a lot better knowing that other people have already tried it out and they loved it.
Absolutely. It's a shortcut to making decisions, especially now when we've got like a million choices for everything.
A million choices there. Okay, so it gets even more interesting. Forbes found that most people read something like 10 reviews on average before they decide if they trust a business.
10 reviews.
10 reviews. It's like they're writing a term paper on whether or not to order a pizza.
Seriously. It's got to be a ton of pressure on businesses to get those good reviews.
And when they don't get it right, well, this article does not hold back on what happens next. It's all about the very real costs of negative reviews, and it can get pretty intense.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're not just talking about someone's feelings getting hurt here, right?
No, not at all. This is about their business, like actual money, customer trust, all of it.
Okay, so hit me with it. What kind of impact are we talking about here?
Well, let's start with, like, the most obvious one. Straight up cash. Money. Harvard Business Review. I think we can all agree they know what they're talking about. They found that even just 1 star lower on Yelp can mean that a restaurant is making way less money, like 5% to 9% less.
Whoa, 5% to 9%? That's a huge difference. So those star ratings aren't just like a popularity contest. They're really impacting a business's ability to, keep the lights on.
And it's not just restaurants. Think about it. How many times have you decided not to try a place because it had a couple of bad reviews?
Oh, tons of times. In fact, I once completely skipped this bakery, and everyone was telling how good it was just because of one really mean review about a dry croissant.
Oh, no. You and me both. And that takes us to the next big thing, customer trust. Bright Local, they're all about local marketing. Well, they found that almost half of all customers, we're talking 48%, won't even consider a place if it doesn't have at least 4 stars.
4 stars. Seriously. It feels like with so many people posting reviews these days, getting to 4 stars is almost impossible.
It's a tough crowd out there, but it gets worse because those negative reviews can stick around for a long, long time.
You mean it's not just a temporary thing?
Nope. This company, Womply, they look at all this customer data for businesses, and they found that businesses with a lot of recent bad reviews, like we're talking 9 or more, they actually make 13% less than similar businesses with better reviews.
So those bad reviews can actually cause this whole chain reaction, right? Fewer customers, less money, and then it can even mess with things like getting a loan or finding investors for the business. It's kind of terrifying, honestly.
It really is a domino effect. And there's more, because it can even affect how people find these businesses in the first place. And that all comes down to SEO.
SEO, okay, now we're getting technical. It's more than just like showing up on Google Maps when someone searches for something nearby, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not enough to just be on those apps and websites. It's about being one of the first things people see, like the top of the list. That's where those star ratings can really make or break you.
So where do those reviews come in?
Well, there's this company, Moz, they're like the SEO gurus, and they figured out that online reviews count for, get this, more than 15% of how Google decides to rank local businesses. That's a lot.
15% just from reviews. So if a business is getting slammed with bad reviews, it's like Google is purposely burying them in the search results.
Pretty much. Potential customers might be searching for exactly what that business offers, but those negative reviews could be stopping them from ever finding it in the first place.
It's like getting punched twice.
Yeah.
First, bad reviews scare away the few customers who actually manage to find the business, and then they make it almost impossible for new customers to find them at all.
And the worst part is it can be really hard to come back from that.
Okay, so we've talked about how negative reviews can hurt a business's finances and their online visibility. But this article also talks about something else. It's about how our brains are wired to focus on the negative. Have you ever noticed how one bad photo can totally ruin an entire vacation?
Oh, absolutely. One bad angle and suddenly the whole trip is ruined.
Exactly. And our brains do the same thing with online reviews. It's called negativity bias.
Our brains just latch on to those negative things, even if there's tons of positive stuff, too.
So that one awful review about, like, terrible service or whatever, it's going to carry more weight for us, even if it's surrounded by dozens of good ones.
It's crazy, right? And it's not just us being overly sensitive or anything. Harvard Business Review, they talk about this research that proves negative experiences actually have a much stronger impact on our brains than positive ones, like 2 or 3 times stronger.
Wow. 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
We really are hardwired for negativity, huh? No wonder businesses are desperate for those 5-star reviews.
And then there's social media. This article, it mentions that like 71% of people share their good experiences online, but
you're thinking way more than that, or probably sharing their bad experiences, right?
it's probably a lot more, yeah. Bad news spreads fast, especially online. It's like one bad review can turn into this massive thing really quickly.
So it seems like both businesses and customers have a lot to think about here, right? Businesses are trying to stay afloat in this online review world, and people like us are trying to make good decisions based on all these reviews. But don't worry, this article does offer some hope.
Oh, good. Because I was starting to think all this was kind of depressing.
Right. So it might seem a little strange, but this article talks about how engaging with those negative reviews, even the really bad ones, can actually help businesses. Harvard Business Review and TripAdvisor, they've both done these studies that show businesses that take the time to respond to reviews, good and bad, tend to see a lot more engagement.
Really? So even just acknowledging a negative review can make a difference?
Apparently, yeah. It shows potential customers that the business actually cares about feedback, even when it's not positive. It's like it makes the business seem more human and trustworthy.
That makes sense. I know if I see a business owner responding to criticism and trying to make things right, I'm more likely to give them another chance, even if they've messed up before.
It's all about being open and communicating. And it makes you realize that we, as customers, have a certain responsibility when we leave reviews, too. It's not just about getting our frustrations out there. It's about actually trying to help businesses improve and giving useful information to other customers.
So it's a two-way street. Our words can really impact businesses, but we need to be careful about how we use them.
This article really made me think about that. This whole thing, this whole deep dive has really got me thinking about how much weight our words have online. Like, the article is all about negative reviews, but it also makes you wonder about the other side of it, you know?
You mean, like, what about the person writing the review? What's their responsibility?
Exactly. If what we say online is so powerful, if it can really make or break a business, shouldn't we at least try to be thoughtful about it?
It's easy to just, like, unleash after a bad experience, right?
Right.
But are we actually saying something useful, something that might help?
Yeah, it's not as simple as just being nice, right? It's different when you're writing something for everyone to see.
It's totally different. And honestly, sometimes we post things online that we'd never actually say to someone in person.
Oh, 100%. I've definitely been guilty of that. It's like when you're behind a screen, you feel a little bit, I don't know, braver, or maybe just less worried about what other people think.
It's true. There's this weird thing where we feel less inhibited online, like there are no consequences. But those words, they do have consequences, especially for businesses.
So how do we find a good balance then? How can we be honest about our experiences, even the bad ones, but still be aware of the impact we're having?
That's the million-dollar question, right? I think it comes down to remembering that there are real people reading those reviews. Business owners, employees, even other customers. We're all in this together.
It's like we need to have more empathy online. It sounds kind of corny, but maybe that's what's missing. Like, what if we all took a second before hitting post and thought, how would I feel if someone said this about my work?
Right. That's a good reality check. And beyond just empathy, maybe it's about making our criticism more constructive. Like, if you had a bad experience somewhere, ask yourself, what information would have been helpful to know beforehand?
Instead of just listing everything that went wrong, maybe we could use reviews to help prevent those things from happening to other people.
Exactly. Turn a bad experience into something good, something that helps everyone. Maybe that's how we can start to change the whole online review thing, make it less about complaining and more about making things better.
I love that. It's a big goal, but I think it's worth striving for. So to wrap things up, it seems like online reviews are crazy powerful. There's a lot of interesting psychology involved, and we, as consumers, need to use that power responsibly. It's not about trying to destroy businesses. It's about having a conversation that can actually lead to positive change.
Well said. And who knows, maybe if we can all be a little more mindful of our words, we can make the internet a slightly less brutal place, At least when it comes to reviews.
No, that would be a win for everyone. Okay, folks, that's it for today's deep dive into the wild world of online reviews. We hope this got you thinking, whether you're running a business or just trying to survive those endless Yelp rabbit holes. Until next time, happy reviewing.